Good afternoon, everyone. The time is 5:02. I think the date is September 9th, 2021. This is episode 17 of the Catr and Kenard podcast. I am one of your hosts, Chris Kenard. Um, hey, Michael, nice to see you again, or rather, hear you again.
Hey, Chris, it is September. I don't know what date you said, but it is the 9th of 2021, Thursday. And it's good to talk with you again. We've been we had an episode a couple of weeks ago, but we're back on the grind. And I'm excited about one of the things. I'm excited about everything, but there's one specific thing I'm excited, and I know you know what I'm talking about.
I most certainly do. In case folks haven't had a chance to glance at the title of today's episode, today's topics include philosophy and pop. But before we get into that, we have some things to specifically discuss that we didn't get a chance to discuss on episode 14. That was the end. Oh, not 14. Just the last episode we had with our good friend Living Abstraction, aka Eleanor, who was the last guest for season 1 of the show. I believe that episode was da 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 da
This is one of
da.
your friends.
You know Living Abstraction.
Is that A?
Aramide, bro.
Yeah,
Aramide, yes.
I didn't know that. Didn't know that's what name you used. Okay.
Yes, it was episode 14. I was about to say 15, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, right before we closed, we closed on season 2. And Aramide had 2 suggestions for us. One, Leaving by Tony, and So Far Away, the Carole King cover by Rod Stewart. Michael, would you like to go first?
Sure. By the way, I wanted to say we are a music. We are a music podcast.
In case y'all forgot the last 17, 16 episodes.
We are. What's that?
In case they forgot in the first 16 episodes.
Or if we have new people coming in.
Of course.
We want to. You wrote a lovely synopsis for us, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But we are straying a little bit away from music, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Yes, I did listen to that song. I'm going to go back and listen to it again, but I did say just giving one answer here or a couple words here, but I did like the song.
The Leaving record, yeah?
What's that?
You liked Leaving? You did?
Yes, I've never heard, well, that I can remember because, when flipping through the radio, but I've never heard Tony before. Am I botching the name of the artist again?
No, that's how you say it. Yeah, you got it.
Okay. So I've never heard them before, but I did listen to it. I'll probably go back and listen to it again. It garners a repeat listen. What about you?
I can't say I feel the same way. One thing I know about Living Abstraction is that he loves film, and I believe he's studying for it right now at a prestigious university that will remain nameless. But
Okay.
I know that he cares a great deal about creating an atmosphere, and I feel that I'm pretty sure it's already been used in a very popular movie with Eddie Murphy, but I could totally see that being used as a needle drop in one of his films.
You think it really is?
I think it fits more of a film than I didn't really enjoy it. I find it to be kind of cheesy, but it definitely it definitely sounds
But are you saying it's definitely in an Eddie Murphy, or are you just envisioning it in an Eddie Murphy movie?
I'm pretty sure that when I was looking it up to listen to it, I saw the cover of Beverly Hill Cop as one of the suggestions. So I'm pretty sure it's on that soundtrack. Feel free to fact check me later if y'all care enough to do that. I'll definitely future Chris will definitely annotate that in the notes when he eventually gets to this episode. But yeah, I feel like it fits more for a film than for my genuine enjoyment. Thematically, I can see why he suggested it to the two of us because it definitely you know what it kind of reminds me of? It's like a 90s R&B version of like Rude by Magic. Do you remember that song?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was like popular like 8 years ago, right?
Just about, if not in 2014, but I'll probably fact check that later as well. Yeah, but like just hey, like nobody has any faith in us, but I do, but like I only want to like take this to the next step if you're ready. So let's get the heck out of here. And that's a situation that I found myself in, and I'm glad that it took a leap of faith and love, and you know here I am here I am as a result of that. So I think I'll play it for my person to see if they like it or not. I think it's super cheesy, but I think it's kind of sweet in its own silly way. It has a very I'm very surprised. Like I almost had to roll my eyes at the whole "blow me like a saxophone" line.
Well, this I don't know if you've said this, but this was Robert A. told us this on that episode. Um, this was sometime last year, but anyway, he said the song is on a tribute album to Carole King.
Well, you mean the next song? Yeah. Did you
The
listen
one
to it
that
too?
you listened to.
Yeah, I didn't think I would like this because much like the Tony record, I think Rod Stewart's kind of cheesy, but like I keep forgetting that he has a vast body of work, and I enjoyed this so much, this Carole King tribute, So Far Away, that I need to like I'm definitely considering just like getting into an album of his because I've always known he's a great singer, even at his own, even right now, like he sounds great. Old age has definitely like done wonders for his voice. Not that his voice is like any worse than, but you know, it's like at his tender age, he sounds wonderful, and like the quality has not the sound has changed, but the quality has not dimmed in any sort of way. And I really enjoyed this. The production was great, and I put the original version of this song on my work playlist. So I look forward to like hearing that song pop up in the mix every so often. Like I'm wow, like it's Aramide is always like throwing music in my direction, and like this was definitely one of the better selections. So, Mr. Living Abstraction, if you're out there, I really really appreciated it, and I really enjoyed it. So, like, thank you for that.
Is he listening right now? Because you told me he was going to listen today.
We have two listeners right now. Hey, folks, please feel free to like make yourselves known in the chat because we love interacting with folks while we're recording. Two people listening right now, thank you so much. But yeah, like Eleanor, great recommendation.
Well, what he was trying to do, if I remember correctly, from oh, here he is. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here's what, if I remember correctly, and he can chime in, he was trying to do an old switcheroo like a Freaky Friday or the movie with Vince Vaughn. But it was he was giving me the song that he would normally give you, and then vice versa.
Yeah, you got the better half of the stick, I gotta say.
Now, you listen to the Tony song too.
Sure did.
But had you heard it before listening to it?
No, I only knew like I only knew Feel So Good by Tony. And one of like the TikTok accounts I followed revealed one of their more sketchier records, but I don't want to talk about that here. I'll tell you about that in private.
Okay.
So yeah, like, and frankly, like I like Raphael Sadiq now, but I barely know his stuff too. I maybe know maybe a couple of records of his.
I've heard of him. I didn't know he was part of them.
Yeah, like I know he's a very prominent like producer and songwriter as well. I know like 3 of his joints I think that are decent, but it's just like it's a specific it's a specific lane of R&B I'm not very familiar with. But you know, like I'm glad I gave it a chance.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to bring up the next subject.
It's actually a perfect time to transition. Go ahead.
Okay. Because it sounds like we said what we needed to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said this in the beginning that we're music, but we're going to kind of go astray a little bit today. There's no segue into music with this. There's nothing musical about this.
I disagree, but go on.
Say that? What's that?
I completely disagree, but go on.
Okay. Well, anyway, I've thrown out some, if you want to call them pearls of wisdom. I've littered episodes with pearls of wisdom. But this is like a full-on philosophy topic. And I found an article. It's a local newspaper called Sun. The Sun. I think it's the Sun, and it's the writer is of the article is Glenn Baldwin, and it's a female because Glenn can be a male's name, and so the article, I guess, this is a series of articles she does. So, like, there's no semicolon, but it feels like looking at it, it's a series called a correspondence across time. And then if there was a semicolon, this article is called A Letter from Me to Me. I actually was going to have you, I told you this before we started, that we would figure this out on air, and we're doing that. I was going to have you read this part. But if you're not comfortable, I can read it.
I'd be happy to read it.
So she has a couple different paragraphs, and they're labeled, like says ocean, one says storms, one says sand. So I'm going to have you read the one that says storms.
All right. Shout out to North Beach Sun Real Estate. This was published in September 19th, 2017. And so storms.
Oh, North Beach, you're right. I see that on the front. Yeah. Go ahead.
Storms reads as follows. As Don Miguel Ruiz wrote in the 4 Agreements, don't take anything personally. Hurricanes and tornadoes have certainly underscored that wisdom since we've moved here being North Carolina, where the Catr resides. As you grow into adulthood, I hope you realize that it's not all about you. Storms, whether external or internal, are going to tear up your life, not giving a hoot whether you're smart, kind, wealthy, or pretty. People can be like that too. Sometimes their words or gestures are only mirroring their own tumultuous lives, and you have inadvertently stepped into their path. It's rarely personal, and you'll feel so much better if you recognize that. Glenn Baldwin.
Yeah, Glenn. It sounds like you were reading a poem there when you ended it by saying Glenn Baldwin. I'll throw in some notes here, and then well, first of all, let's see. How do I want to start? Yeah, I don't. She's. So it says the one thing that stood out to me was that this is kind of what this whole topic is centered around here. I hope you'll realize that it's not all about you. And I told you this leading up to this episode. As an overdramatic alternative, if it's not all about you, Does that mean does that mean you should stop taking care of yourself? But my question to her is, if it's not all about you, then what should you be doing with your life?
Well, am I okay to respond?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, if it's not all about you, what's the point of being alive? What's the point of like this life we're living? Um, I was raised in a household of a particular lifestyle, on a foundation of like Judeo-Christian values, right? So like, following the golden rule, like doing unto others like you want done to you. And at around like eighth to ninth grade, I was studying in like a private institution at Chaim Tree of Life School, and the headmaster, the principal, the gym teacher, all the same person, Dr. Daniel Schweitzer. He was all like, "Oh, like I encourage all the students to like consider servant leadership," and I especially took that to heart
What kind of
because
leadership?
servant leadership. And
Okay.
so, like, that meant a lot to me as a young person who felt like he didn't fit in very well. I was a very awkward teen. And so I felt like by leading through service, I would have purpose because like people in this world always need to like be served in one way or another. And I just wanted to be liked. And so like I figure like, oh, that's a very like excellent way to be be around people, because being the extroverted person that I am, I always want to be around people. And by like, doing things for folks, it's like you can show them love in that way, and like you can be encouraging in that way. You can do a lot of things by serving folks. And I try
Now,
to
are
like
you talking about like maybe are you also talking about leading by example?
certainly, you know what I'm saying? So like I feel like that is a great way. That's a good enough reason to like keep living and waking up every day, and like you wake up every day, right? Like you brush your teeth, you hop in the bath or the shower, you have something to eat, and then you do what you do. Like for like take you and I, like we work in retail, like service jobs, like be it food service or home improvement, what have you. Like we put our bodies and our time on the line for others to enjoy their lives. Why? Like because I feel like it's an honorable way to live, but only if that's what you feel like it's the best. Only if you want to do that, because I don't want folks to fall into the trap of capitalism of just like, oh, because you're supposed to, you should do it. What if like you don't enjoy it? I can safely say that like I'm not very like enthused to do the job that I do after 6 years, but like I know that if I want the things that I want, I have to do this for a number of years. Maybe not the next six more, but But I digress. It's like um I agree with the statement that everything isn't about you, but some things can be. If some things can be, like they have to, otherwise you don't live, like you don't
Yeah, you
enjoy
have
the
to live
time.
your life.
Exactly. Like um
Is there like a split, like
yes, there 100% is.
50-50?
Yeah, 1000%. Like, and like well, it's up to you, but like some at some point it has to be
Well,
about
that's a
you.
pretty self-centered sentence. It's up to you because that's anti. Uh, it's not about you, but yeah,
I'll even say it like
it
it's
always comes back. It feels like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it always
like,
feels like it comes back to you have. It's all about you. It always feels like it does come back to that.
it's so funny. Like when I hear the line, "It's not all about you," I'm reminded of that one scene from The Incredibles. Did you ever see that film, The Incredibles?
I think so. Tell me who's in it.
It's one of like the Disney Pixar films,
Oh
but that's
yeah,
like a
yeah,
hero
yeah.
family.
I saw it briefly. Yes,
Okay, not to
Ricky
like
Nelson's in it.
But just not to I won't talk about it too much. But like at one point in the film, the father figure of the family, Bob Parr, returns home after sneaking out to perform heroic duties, which he's forbidden from doing, because if he were caught, he'd uproot their family. And in a way of like of subverting the blame, Bob blames his wife for not allowing their son to like use his super abilities in the way that would make him the most happy. And Helen, his wife, is like, we have to maintain some form of being anonymous for like the safety of our family and our neighbors. And he doesn't care. He's like, oh, like you're just smothering my son. Like it's like at one point she just says, "Oh, Bob, it's not about you. Like it's about the sake of our family and keeping them safe." And he can't see past that because he just wants to live his life the way he sees fit, not necessarily for like for the safety and security of like everyone around him. And like she raises her voice, and like the kids hear, like they have a son and daughter, and they hear them arguing, and they stop the argument just to like let the kids know, oh hey, like your mom and I like love one another. We're not, nothing's wrong, but like it's good that something is wrong, and that leads to the conflict in the film. But I think about that in my own life, how I'll like choose self-destructive choices just for my own sake instead of considering, hey, like okay, but you do this, like what about your job? What about your partner? What about your friends? What about your family? Like I had the
Can you give us an
opportunity.
example?
I have a perfect example of that. Like almost a decade ago, I had the opportunity of getting my bachelor's degree at Purdue University. It's a very good college. Like people from all over the world travel to the United States to like study there, primarily engineering, but I was going there for a theater degree. And at one point, I just stopped going to classes. I was having way too much fun to like even bother going, and the level of difficulty was too high for me, and I had a lot of resources in front of me to help me get through that. I remember one time I was performing so poorly in a class that the professor pulled me aside and like really just like read me for filth, like, hey, like you need to step it up because like the performance you've been giving is unsatisfactory. I had chosen a class that was I was not prepared to like do well in. Like it was I think the class I chose was for juniors. So I'm like, I can handle this. And like the things we were like studying and discussing were very interesting. But like I was just like not doing I wasn't putting my best foot forward. And I was so embarrassed that like this was before I even came to class. She pulled me aside and just like strong armed me. It's like, hey, like step it up because like what you're doing isn't enough. Like, and like I want you to succeed, but like not at the rate you're going.
Did
I
they
ended up
see
like,
potential in you?
of course, that's why they pulled me aside. So I left class that day. Like I didn't even show up for class after we had that talk. I just like hid like an empty classroom for the entirety of like the class. And my professor was so alarmed that I didn't show up. Like she had no idea where I went, and she wanted to make sure that I went back to my dorm. But after
So you didn't tell anybody.
no, definitely not. I just like ran off and like hid in like an empty classroom for the duration of like that lecture, and then I went to a restaurant or something. I just sat down to like gather my thoughts. I went to go get a drink or something. Like went to go to soda or whatever. And one of the dudes from my dorm called my phone. It was the police. She called like the campus police on me because she didn't know where I was and she was afraid something had happened to me. And so like yeah, one of the homies called and they're like, "Oh, this is Officer such and such. Don't move. We want to make sure that you're okay." And a bunch of cops came, and I'm like, "I'm fine. It's just that like I'm not doing well in the class, and I was embarrassed, so I didn't show up. Everything's cool." And they let me leave. And I, I was
Well, now there's even more reason for the teacher to be angry at you because you didn't say anything. I think I wouldn't a teacher not be doing their job if they even if they didn't see potential in a student, they would still pull them aside.
maybe like I would have gotten an email or something, but she wanted to make sure she spoke to me like personally because I was like the youngest person in the class, and again I was a freshman taking a class like assigned for juniors. But like I thought, well, what's the worst that can happen? And what happened was
You
I
weren't
dropped out of
prepared.
college. Yeah, I dropped out that following semester because I wasn't going to classes, and frankly, I had no intention of going. I just couldn't handle the pressure, and so I dropped out, and that led me down the path that I'm on now. But like, I'm glad that I trusted myself enough to say I don't have what it takes, and there's no shame in retreating. It's not all about me. It's not all about all the fun I'm having, or like because if I just like stayed in that environment not doing my best, like my parents would have been like really upset. So like I just threw in the towel and I paid off my loans, and here we are now. I also want to bring up a comment left by one living abstraction. Had to learn the hard way about self-destructive behavior this year. There's a lot to think about sometimes. And hey, we appreciate that kind of like transparency, LA, because like I know personally what you're going through, and like my friend, you're doing the best that you can sometimes, and I respect and love you for that.
So he's talking
So,
about his time at school.
or whatever else may be going on. I don't want to go into too much detail,
Okay.
but let's bring it back to like the discussion at hand. I also see that you pulled up a bunch of other like uh quotes from one
Yeah, I see
Eleanor
you right here.
Roosevelt.
Are you on the? Okay. Are you
Yes,
with?
I am. I'm also on the Google Doc.
Okay. So, I mean the Eleanor Roosevelt. I don't know really if it. There's a Eleanor Roosevelt quote. I don't know if it really pertains to it. Yeah. I might just not bring that one
You
up.
sure?
I don't. What's that?
You sure? I think it kind of does.
Um, See, I feel like this topic. I know, not I feel, but I know that this topic will be. We can definitely bring the do a part two, part three, whatever.
Okay, we can save that for later.
So we'll save the Eleanor Roosevelt. I did want to say I still wanted to talk about your particular situation that you brought up with your school. What you say you were having fun?
Oh, I was having way too much fun at college to be focused on classes. You know what's so funny about my time at Purdue? Um, I'm the only reason why I ended up attending the Broadcasting Institute of Maryland, because I was terrified of going to Purdue University. I just got admitted right out of high school, and I told my mom like I'm afraid to go. I'm terrible at going to school. This is a bad decision for me. And my dad was like, "You have to go to college." And so my mom was like, yo, I dropped out twice before I got my bachelor's degree. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to defer for a semester, and then you're going to do something else in the meantime, which is why I went to BIM for 6 months. And BIM was like, oh, hey, before you leave, you got to have a job, internship, or really good resume. And thankfully, I had a decent resume, audition tape, and an internship. I had an internship at like a top 40 station in Indiana, and I had a great experience there. They had me cutting up commercials on the regular. I think I was on air one time. I don't know if I don't quote me on that low. No, I don't know. I wasn't on air. I did a couple of commercials, and that was great until like my living situation kind of like concaved. But and hey, that I think that living situation I had when I was interning at the radio station is a great example of the quote about how it's not all about you. Like I was staying with a very close friend I knew from middle school, and we had stayed in touch over the phone for years. And when we lived under the same roof, we discovered how we had changed in like very consistent ways. Like I found myself, me happy-go-lucky, enthusiastic, and he had become a little more like reserved and negative, and just like the way we felt about like life and the society we lived in. We came to blows quite a few times. Like we would get into like screaming matches and such. And so like his family was like, yo, like this what y'all are doing cannot continue. You gotta dip. And so my parents like paid for my travel home, and I thought, now that we're like apart, things could maybe like repair. And things ended up not that did not take place. Like the friendship, he ended our friendship, and I had a hard time like accepting that. But like his stepdad, like he called me on the phone. And it's like if you love him, you're gonna like respect his decision to like not be your friend any longer. And it was a hard pill for me to swallow, but falls right back into the subject. It's not all about like what I want. It's what he finds best is for his life. And I felt like, and when you care for somebody, when you're a friend with someone, like when you love somebody, it's like, oh, we can work through this. Like we can like discuss it more, like argue or debate it more. Like some things some discussions people will not back down from. And I found that when I engage in that sort of way, it's best that I consider I'm most likely incorrect. And sometimes when like you debate with folks, they feel that they can never be wrong. And um, that too also falls into the philosophy that like it's not all about you. Like when somebody disagrees with you or feels differently, you know, like you should want to listen to what they have to say, even if like they're incorrect or ignorant or vice versa. Like the conversation has to happen one time or another. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How are we doing time wise?
We are at half an hour. We should keep going for another 15 minutes. I wanted to like talk about why I disagreed in the beginning of this conversation about how it doesn't relate to music. I think that it does, and I'll tell you why. Um, when it comes to like this medium we love so much, music, and how the question at hand, it's not all about you. You could like accredit that to like the way one creates or the way one takes in the music. I want to kind of like segue that to the Ethan Hawke quote you have up there. I hope that's all right if you don't mind.
Well, I didn't know we were going to talk about it.
I think it relates.
When we talked about what we hate to use the same word twice. When we were talking about what we were going to talk about in the episode, you did not bring that up. So, but if you want to, there was a TED talk from the actor Ethan Hawke, a TED talk, and he said, "Don't listen to the music that you used to like. Take some time to listen to new music." So, and so, how does that relate?
Well,
You have to get outside of your comfort zone, and your comfort zone is about being yourself.
not necessarily that. I mean, like, take a look at our show, like the Catr and Kenard podcast. We started that, you know, like to put our heads together and like discuss how awesome music is. But in doing so, we often like take each other like down like the pathways of music that like we're most familiar with. And I gotta say, like it's disappointing for me when I bring you a song that doesn't like really like hit your ears
Yeah.
the way songs you already love. And I'm disappointed when you play me songs that I don't like the same way you do. And so but like we keep going because like there's so much to like discuss and unearth. Like on Twitter, not even a couple days ago, there's this band Kingdom of Giants that I've heard of. And the guitarist was talking about how, can't go on the road because COVID. So like watching people's reviews and reactions to the album are the only ways I'll know how people feel. And so I plan to at some point down the line review their most recent album that came out last year. And that's just to like, you know, like when you're in like the heavy alternative scene metal world, like it's easy to fall into tropes that you really enjoy. But like I want to make sure that like I'm not stagnating, because what I really don't like is when award shows come around, or like, you know, like you turn on the radio or pick up a magazine or glance at the Billboard charts, and you're like, or like say like the double XL freshman list comes out that year and you don't know anybody. I never want to be that person. And this year I only knew 6 of the participants. I want to know all 12 at all times. I never want to fall behind. And there have been studies that show that, like at some point you're gonna like fall, you're only gonna listen to the stuff that you love. And that's okay when like you never get tired of that stuff. But you know, we work in retail, and oftentimes the few songs that we do like that they play there come up, and it hurts because you're like, dang, I can't hear this record anymore. And that's why
I've mentioned that.
that's why I'm a champion of like such like platforms like Spotify and YouTube, because they're going, like, the algorithm is going to suggest you things. And that's why I spend so much time on Twitter since like the pandemic really like worsened, because there are so many like people just trying to like get their voices heard and have people like experience their art. And I want to be a part of that. Like I'm kind of like a hoarder with these songs. Like so many playlists that I've made on YouTube and Spotify for others and for myself. Like I'm 3 legs into like this 24-hour playlist at work, and I want to present it to like, I don't know, like the district manager saying, let me play this in my store. And I promise that like it will bring about a mood shift for the employees, not hearing the same old stuff all the time. Like their ears will perk up at something they had not heard before. You know what I mean? And so like when it's not all about you, it's not all about like your interests. It's like the interests of others are like are important to like the way that you live your life, because it's a perspective that you probably will need at some point.
Right. So I feel like this topic's giving me a little bit of a headache. I'm just being honest.
Oh man, okay, sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault. It's just not your fault. So, um, so again, I definitely like to revisit this topic and future philosophical topics, whether they relate to music or not.
Fair enough.
Even if I don't think they do, you'll probably will. But you'll find the link. The yeah, the other things that I mean, I can still try until we're ready to move on. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to do that one either.
That's
there there was two. What's There were two slogans for the school.
What,
You and
BIM?
you and I both went to BIM, Broadcasting Institute of Maryland. Um, One was an official slogan, and I really hope that someone from the school isn't listening because I need your help with it.
What, remember the official? I will never forget the official slogan.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably the one. What is it?
If it is to be, it is up to me.
Yeah, that sort of to me is it being about you.
Yes.
So, don't know. I feel like I reached a dead end now. And then the unofficial was I don't know if this is verbatim, but uh, always try to be yourself. Um, so it just feels like to me, I read sources that champion being being about you, and then not a lot of sources, but I still see it on the other side of the coin of it's not all about you. So it's kind of contradictory, but I can only think of one other source besides Glenn Baldwin where it says it's not about you. But it seems like more sources saying to be yourself and being about you. So that's it for me for this topic. If you want to squeeze out a little bit more of the lemon before we have to move on.
Here's what I'll say in regards to the author's words of like it's not always about you. Listeners, if you're just as confused and like mixed up about like the discussion as we are, know this. It's all about finding your balance in like in the way you're living your life, you know. Like say you are a musician and I'm not sure what tier you're on, but like say in regards to like the things that you're making and like the way that like people perceive your work. Um, you know, you have like folks have their intentions when they create music, and whether people like take the time to understand where your heart is coming from when you create, that's up to them. Like once you create the album, the EP, the song, the mixtape, like when you put it out into the world for them to consume, like how they take it is it's all up to them. You know, like you've already done your part, you created it. Then like, you know, you promote, like you go to radio, you go to television, you go to podcasts, like you go to your blog to discuss like what went into the mix as you're creating this stuff. Like even when they read or hear you or see you and they still don't understand, you've done your part. Like you did that. You go out then into the world. Like you go to like the bars, the venues, like the stadiums, like the streams, and like you perform these songs, and like people take it in the way that they do, and like, hey, you did the performance, and like, no, what more can we ask of you? And then like maybe a couple of years go by, and you say like, I remember when Between the Buried and Me, they put out Colors, and that was a very successful project for them, and they moved on. They've released maybe like what 4 albums since Colors. And at one point, they're like, "Hey, from now on, we're not going to perform any songs from that album. We want to like creatively like put that to rest." And like I respect them for doing that, because now in 2021 they put out Colors 2, and I cannot wait to hear that album. And so yeah, like they realize, oh hey, like that part of our lives was wonderful, but like now it's over and we have to move on to like different things. And like they're they can be kind of pigeonholed based on what kind of like based on which metalhead you ask. But like that I respect that kind of like creative thinking. Like you wouldn't hear like Bitch Bam on like top 40, but that's okay. Like that's the decision they made in regards to their own creativity. And I mentioned top 40 because now we're about maybe 3 minutes early, but I wanted to bring up this one particular topic that came up to me when I was listening. Pardon me, Belch. I was listening to Eric the Young God, who's a very interesting creator here on YouTube. He was talking to the artist Spelling. That's spelled Spelling, not 2 L's but 3. And this year she put out an album, The Turning Wheel, which Anthony Fantano, aka The Needle Drop, gave a perfect 10 out of 10. Oh, and I also wanted to mention LA's comment about how Tyler, the Creator, very like interesting artist, doesn't perform one of his biggest songs, Yonkers, anymore, because that kind of music he doesn't make that kind of like edgy music anymore. Like definitely still like interesting and different and like off the wall kind of stuff, but not as like disturbing kind of music, you know, like he made that kind of music when he was young, and now he's a grown man, and so like you move on. Like he was definitely making it all about him when he's making songs like Yonkers, but now like you know, like you progress in that sort of way. Anywho, Spelling, Eric the Young God, Fantano, Eric the Young God really liked The Turning Wheel, like Fantano did, and so they both had a chance to like interview her separately. And when she was talking to Eric, she brought something up to me that I found very interesting. She said that pop music is sort of like sacred, or like to her. And I thought to myself, is pop music sacred? Like can pop music be sacred? And so I asked you, and do you remember how you felt then and how you feel now about that kind of like point of view in regards to pop music?
Well, I knew you posed that question to me, and I really didn't come up with anything. I looked up the word sacred, and music. So the first definition was, well, there's 1A and 1B. The first 1A is dedicated or set apart for the service or worship of a deity. And deity, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, means God. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if which is kind of yeah. I don't know if pop music is. I don't even know why I brought up. I just wanted to show, I guess, that I did my homework a little bit. But I'm I I've mentioned before. I love the extended music, progressive music. Um, I'm really straying away from the subject. So
No, it's keep going. Yeah.
no, so pop music, is it sacred? Do it on air, whatever. So does that means that like you can't kind of mess with it because the formula is perfected?
That's one way of looking at it, and I feel honestly you could accredit that sort of like line of thinking with any genre, but is that how you feel?
I mean, there are gods in the pop music world. It's a really so. Is that how I feel? I think that I just really am not. I do like pop music. It's not like I for any genre. It's not like I specifically go out of my way and choose a specific genre. It's really, I don't like to use this word because it's lazy, rando. I want to use the word random, but it is rando. Um, as far as what music I pick, my thoughts that I had for this topic have nothing really to do about it, but I like pop songs, but the one when I think of pop songs, I really do think of three minutes or less usually, um, and I guess they can be anthemic pop songs, but you know me, I like epic, progressive tracks because the pop song, um, when it's 3 minutes, you're like, when it's over, you're like, oh no, now I have to start off. But you get an extended with the that sound, that hook that pulls you in. When you have a longer song, you get much more time to hear that hook over and over and over again. And so with a pop song, you're like, oh, I have to just repeat it now. So as I don't know what I can I just say I don't have an answer to your question. Is pop music sacred? Um, again, I don't pick. There are some genres that I just don't listen to, and maybe because I'm not aware of them, or because I actually do not like the genre. Um, I guess if we are to talk about the subject before, I could uh, open myself up to new genres, and that's what you do when you recommend me a song, um, in hoping that I'll. I mean, I think there have been some songs, to give you credit, that I have liked. Um, there was one, I think, the March Madness play on words that you did. One of the instrumental ones that I heard that was good. Um, so no, I don't know if pop music is sacred or not. What What are your thoughts?
Man, I'm like bursting at the seams with where we could take this, but before we do, I'd like to point out LA's point of view. He says, "Shout out to the Beach Boys and Prefab Sprout for making me understand how pop music can be a transformative experience. They showed me it could be sacred." And my point of view is that yes, pop music can be a sacred experience. Like the way oh man. Okay, so um what I want to bring it back to spelling because I'd never heard of her before 2021. And Fantano, he on Twitter posted a link to the lead single of her new album, The Turning Wheel. It's called Little Deer. And it is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard in my entire life. Oh my god. It's so beautiful I want to cry. So wonderful. And
What is
so
this song called again?
Little Deer. I'm actually gonna put it into the thing so you can see it on screen.
Little
here.
Deer.
Let me see here.
Like the animal deer?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I might have to listen to it.
Oh my goodness. Play it for the whole family. I love it that much. Spectacular.
Why don't you just say that's the song you recommend me for today?
No, because I have something just as good, but just of a different genre. Yeah, yeah, definitely play that for the whole family because Little Deer by Spelling is amazing. And so I think about all let's go back to like the 3-minute format of a popular song. It's not easy to make pop music. You have to really know what you're doing to compose, to bring together elements that a lot of people are going to enjoy. Pop music is made for the masses. Some people look down on that. But the fact of the matter is, if you play a song that a lot of people enjoy, they're going to have fun. Like I said to you on the phone when we were discussing this episode, politics, religion, those sort of topics will have people. Those sort of politics and religion will get people killed. And not to say that music won't, but I feel that you can almost accomplish more with music than you can with politics or religion because it's far too easy for those kind of it's far too easy to get divided over those things. And we're not really necessarily here to discuss those things right now because I have Michael and I have a fun little activity we want to introduce hopefully in the next couple of episodes in regards to local politics and such. But back to pop music, it's man, it's so fascinating when musicians from our world, from America, can go all over the globe and play their songs, and people really have a great time. And you can do that with pop music. It's I'm not gonna say it's the easiest way, but you won't have as hard of a time playing, I don't know, playing R&B or metal or country with those sort of songs. And but hey, that's why there are various genres appear in those formats. There's a reason why Nickelback can play a bigger show than I don't know, maybe Devin Townsend or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't know who Devin Townsend is. So.
Exactly, but you know who Nickelback is because radio's and Chad Kroger himself stated that I wrote songs I know that people would be able to suss out the minute they heard them. You recognize Chad's voice when you hear it, and you know everyone knows the big Nickelback songs because we've been inundated with their stuff for most of their career for the most part, based on where you live.
Yeah.
It's it's very important to me how because that's why I wanted to chase the Billboard chart in an earlier part of the show because how people took in pop music when they couldn't go outside. It's the difference between the top 20 now and a year ago are significant for a reason. You know what I'm saying? A year ago, we had a song by Ariana Grande and Bieber about how being inside was so awesome, and it did not go over well. But those same two artists are still in the top 20 for very different reasons, and that's fascinating.
That they can rebound.
And what's so kind of funny to me is that artists like Grande and Justin they don't ever it's almost implied that when they drop anything new, it's going to shoot up the charts because the people who love them love what they do, you know? And I find what they do, I have complicated relationships with both of their careers, but like how I feel it doesn't necessarily negate like the impact it'll have on the public. Like you're gonna hear a song by Justin and Ariana in every store you shop in. And that is powerful stuff. Like whether like it comes from a genuine place or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so interesting how like a musician's career can be shifted by just one record and then nothing else at all. Like that's oh man, like I almost like I'm at a loss for words at like how fascinating that can be, you know.
You're allowed to have stinkers, if you want to say.
That's funny. That's so funny. It's also interesting how Living Abstraction brought up the Beach Boys, because I was listening to this one podcast called Turned Out a Punk with the lead vocalist of Fucked Up. They're from Canada, and he was talking to Nate from Fun, because I forget why they're having the conversation, but you know they mentioned how Nate, he was able to work with one of the dudes from the Beach Boys. I forget which one it was. Brian Wilson, yeah. Brian Wilson invited Nate to come to the studio to sing on the song, and he's nervous as can be because, like, you know, Brian Wilson is one of the most important, like, American songwriters of all time. And
he's one of the pop gods.
Yeah, 1,000%. And for a while, I didn't really understand the hype until one of my stoner buddies is like, listen, go home and listen to Pet Sounds and then tell me you don't understand. And I did that, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, this album is amazing. You know what I mean? And so here's Nate, like in the studio, like thinking, oh, I'm a good singer, I can do this. And here's Brian, you know, a very like shy and quiet person. And he's like, yeah, do that again. You weren't doing it well enough. And he was like, yo, what? I'm giving it my all. But like, it wasn't enough until like he was able to like just like shift his performance for what Brian needed. And that brought out a really good song. I still haven't heard it at this point, but like, it's so cool that that sort of stuff can happen when like, because Nate also told the story about how his manager or someone he knew in the industry, they're meeting up for lunch, and he's like, so what are you working on? And he's saying the hook for We Are Young, and he's like, oh, you need to get that made immediately because that is a song. Like, you know, when that song like hit the charts, it didn't go away for a while. Like the barometer of that song's success definitely like hit ahead when like it was on Glee and stuff like that. And it's so fascinating when things like that happen because that can either like take your song to the next level or ruin it completely in the same way like a Kidz Bop rendition will do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't listened to Kidz Bop before, but I know of them.
Oh, it's painful to say the least.
Yeah.
Go on. I've been talking for a little bit.
No, he mentioned, what was the other band, Living Abstraction, and mentioned?
I don't know anything about Prefab Sprout. Let's do a quick Google, shall we?
I don't know much about them either. I would venture to bring up something we talked about last episode. That
please, yeah.
That W word. It's
Which one?
It's a website.
Wikipedia, yes. And what's so funny you mentioned is that as soon as I Google Prefab Sprout, the first URL that pops up is the Wikipedia hyperlink. Just off the top.
That was the first, man. But I'll go my channel. Prefab.
You're gonna look it up. You're gonna look them up on iTunes.
Bingo, my man.
Okay.
You
want
to compare notes?
That's actually, I think it's a great idea. Let's do that. Living Abstraction, thank you, because once again, I've never heard of this act before. And the way like the UK treats pop is way different than the way that we do. But enough jibber jab.
They've got a long paragraph, and we have 29 minutes left. But does it say that they're from Newcastle upon Tyne, England?
I have Witten Gilbert, County Durham. Wait, no, hold on. Yeah. I guess Witten Gilbert, Durham County. Yes, they're an English pop band from the 80s, and I'm honestly not
Formed in
surprised.
1977, though.
I have 1978, but tomato.
Wikipedia. No,
Don't be
anyway.
shady. Don't be shady.
Well,
have you heard of them before? Before I brought them up, because I'd never heard of these folks before.
Yeah, and it says their lead singer, their vocalist, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist sounds like an Irish dude, Paddy McAloon. Sorry if I botched his last name. Who has been regularly hailed as one of the greatest songwriters of his era. McAloon has often been compared favorably to Elvis Costello, Paul McCartney, and even Cole Porter, not just because of his lyrical and instrumental gifts, but for his ambitious creative visions of his catalog. Now, I like that word ambitious, which means to me, without looking at a definition, it definitely goes along with the word creative, ambitious creative vision. But ambitious means you go off you throw in your physical graffitis, you throw in your white albums, if you will. You don't follow the same formula, so that's kind of cool.
Now that I know what the kind of like related artists and like influences are, I can see why I never heard of these folks before. One word: hipster.
You think they're hipster band?
1000%. It's like one of like the best songwriters of his time during the 80s, and I've never heard of you before. Well, that says to me two things: like the galaxy of music is even bigger than I think it is, and that like my perspective on the 80s is extremely limited, because I remember I'm born in 1992. I didn't see it. I didn't experience firsthand what happened in the 80s, and like there's this like, even despite like the size of the country, so much important music just like flows out of the UK. Even today, so much cool and interesting stuff is happening over there and across the world. Like just not even a couple of days ago, late one night before I was going to bed, I'm on Facebook scrolling like I always do, and this band from Japan came into my feed, and I'm like, okay, like the video started auto playing. Let me turn it on and see what it sounds like. And I was just like hit in the face with just like such just like massive and heavy instrumentation with like a blend of electronics. And I'm like, yo, I gotta see what this is about, but I'm gonna just like tuck it away for later. And like I've had it on repeat nonstop since I heard it, and I can't wait to like just like pass it along to the people who I know will really love it. And so like maybe I should like investigate this prefab Sprout band, because I'm sure there's gonna be something interesting for both of us. What can we really go over in like the next like 20 minutes or so about this, about like pop and how sacred it can or cannot be. It's like let's examine.
I mean, if you're saying sacred as sort of, are you saying like religious like?
Definitely not. I guess sacred in the way that like pop music will always be important. Like who's
important than any other genre? I know. I will say not personally. I will say I know. I'm not going to mention it on air. There is one genre of music that it's not really a genre. It's it is a genre. There is one genre that you do not like at all, and
what's that?
You crap. I'm not saying it on air.
I don't know what you're talking about. Which genre?
It's one from the 60s/70s.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's one that I've seen that you've crapped on. So
what's that? No, which one is that?
I'm not going to say on air.
You have to now. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
You know what it is.
I don't. What do you mean?
I don't feel.
Michael, please. This is great content, by the way. What are you talking about?
So is pop music the superior one?
No, don't you try. I will answer that question, I promise. What genre are you talking about that I hate from the 60s/70s?
And I think it's like the word I always have a hard time with that one. Vehemently, like.
Vehemently. Yeah. I demand that you tell me which genre that I specifically hate. What do you mean?
Like with a fiery passion. Like if we're talking about sacred. This is like with a fiery devil hell passion. The opposite of. You know what I'm talking about.
I don't. I sincerely don't. What do you mean?
And it's a popular like program on the radio. Like they like to program that kind of music, and I don't listen to radio that much anymore. As you know, I listen to a little bit of radio. I'll talk to you about it off air. I promise. But
no, don't hold it. Don't withhold it from like the listeners. Yo,
you're gonna make me.
Are you talking about music?
No, I know you like music. You told me the story about your teacher, I think, with Kenny G, right?
Oh, you mean smooth jazz?
No, I'm not talking about a genre, but I want to recount that story. Can we do that?
Yeah, my third grade teacher, Mrs. Graham, loved Kenny G, and my mom had one of the CDs in her car, and I found that to be so fascinating.
I like music, and I like your tone now makes me want to share it because
you have to, because I don't remember, and I'm so surprised that like I disclosed to you about how I disliked the genre, even hated it. That's from like the 60s and 70s. What could that be? I'm confused.
You like I know you've talked about how the like you really laid into it. You were really I don't even. I really would like to talk about it off air. Just like
no, you have to say it on air. You have to now. What could it be?
Why do you have to use that tone? Oh, jeez.
I am sincerely like puzzled and like enamored with what I could have said that I don't remember.
You didn't say it to me, but I know you don't like it.
What is it? What could it be? You have to tell me.
And I think, yeah. How much longer do we have? We
have a good 20 minutes. You have to tell me.
No, I don't have to tell you.
You don't. But I'm begging you. I'm begging you. My goodness, you must. No, you have to. Please.
I'm really excited to give you this song though that I'm going to recommend you.
Spectacular. What are you talking about, please?
It doesn't matter because
it does. You're killing me here.
You're scaring some things in my house here.
Am I scaring the cats?
Something like that. No, you're.
Hi, cats.
I just, I think, I don't want to say that your tunnel vision when it comes to what we're talking about is pop music, the one, but I know you definitely rule out this one. And you wouldn't say that they were sacred.
Are we talking about a genre or a band?
No, it's a genre. And I think you.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Is it Nightcore?
Never even heard of that genre. What is that?
Listen, if I haven't talked about it then, we can talk about it later. All right. So which genre is it?
That's we, we have other things we're going to talk about off air.
I
So
know! Please tell me.
let's add that to it.
Are you seriously gonna hold that in? Because if you
Yeah.
are, I will respect your decision, but I'll be very disappointed.
I'll live with that. Yes.
Oh, I can't believe you would because you're gonna tell me off air, and I feel like the reaction that I've just been building towards will be stolen away from the audience. Gosh darn you!
Yeah. Well, who shot Jr. That left with people with suspense.
You know what? Moving on.
Do you even know what that is?
I don't know what you're referring to. No.
There's a show called Dallas, and at the end they said who shot Jr. and then you had to find out the next season when they finally aired the new season. And South Park parodied it by I don't even remember. Oh, it was who had sex with Cartman's mom or something, and they parodied the suspense part of that. So
hardy har. Okay. But to answer your question, I do not believe that pop is the most superior genre because pop is only born from what's from the most significant music of a time. Every 6 months, pop music is changing, and I love that. I love things that consistently change. Right now in the world we live in today, hip hop is the most important genre, and the way that it's made and the way that it's distributed, is very it's controversial. It's provocative, gets the people going, and so participation. There's a lot of layers to the way that hip hop moves and breathes. But for my money, I'm more concerned about the things that are done outside of the spotlight of popular the most popular MCs and producers, because that's how when the things bubble up from that mixture is how that's when the vehicle which pop music moves on turns into a different direction. I love that so much. I love when the most popular musicians talk about music you wouldn't expect them to, because it just points the spotlight onto people who don't necessarily get the time and love that they deserve and things of that nature. Hey, this was a very fruitful debate. We didn't have as much material as we had last week, but here we are. I'd love to now discuss the things that we'll review the next time we get together. You want to start first?
I'll tell you, it's not from that genre because I know you don't like that genre. Now,
off, friend.
I found out about this artist on Wikipedia. No, I didn't. Yeah, I'll go first.
Shut up.
I'll go first.
Please do.
And so the song is called. It's called If I Had a Happy Place, This Would Be It. Have you heard that song before?
I have not.
The artist is Kid 606. All one word. And then
Would be it.
If I Had a Happy Place, This Would Be It by Kid 606. Again, it's all 606. It's not a word.
I found it.
It's all together. And then the album is called Kill Sound Before Sound Kills You.
I like that. That sounds awesome.
And then that's the song for you. And so yeah, that's my song.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm gonna listen to that right when the episode ends. Cool. Well, my suggestion for you, my friend, is from an Australian guitarist named Pliny, spelled Plini, Pliny. And he's one of those like bedroom producers. He's a really talented guitarist, and he has a lot of friends across the world who make the same kind of music he does. He's in that gent progressive metal subgenre I love so much. And I recently stumbled upon one of his songs. It's called Pan, Pan, and it's from the album Impulse Voices. And the music video for this song is like a demo for like a product he uses to like make most of the song. Like you have some really great guitar, really great drums, really great bass, a saxophone solo, some great synth, like no lyrics, just how you like it. And it definitely falls under that grandiose epic category I know you care so much for. And I definitely think it's also like a family-friendly song that anyone can enjoy. Like there's a lot of cool stuff happening. Like I really like Plenty. Like not a lot of artists can sell the whole like we make songs with no lyrics things stick. But I think like artists like Polyphia and Animals as Leaders have done a spectacular job doing so. But I know that like the way they specifically make things can be a little jarring per se. Like the Animals as Leaders style is very extremely rhythmical, and like Polyphia is more like based in hip hop and things like that. And like even though like hip hop is the most popular genre, a lot of people in metal hate it, and it's a damn shame. But hey, that's why new metal didn't last as long as it did. So I'm gonna send you the link to Pan by Plenty as soon as I am able to do so. Most likely after the show.
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I know we have about 12 more minutes left. I told you to keep track of the time, but anyway, I heard the term bedroom producer, and we were talking when you had first mentioned when I think there's a little project that I have you do for me.
Did I?
That's not part of the recommended songs. There's a little project where you are. It's not ongoing. I mean, it's not constantly being. You're not constantly giving me recommendations, but it's to fulfill my satiation. That's a word, right? For instrumental music. So I mentioned, I think last episode, you have your friend John Briscoe. You gave me that. You gave me Snarky Puppy. But one of the early in on this project, it's not like an official project. Mm-hmm. It's just one I kind of came up with in my head for you to do for me. But it's one of the first artists was Blockhead.
Music by Cave Light.
What's that?
Yeah, the album Music by Cave Light. Yeah, I remember.
And I read about one of his albums on iTunes. I'm not bringing that up right now.
That's fine.
But it said it was a bedroom artist. And when I think of that, I think of music that you just I guess kind of like a headphone album, and not something you're going out to the club to listen to. So I kind of dig that the headphone album, the bedroom artist. And so you said this Plenty,
yeah.
He's a bedroom thing. So I just wanted to say that.
Cool. Well,
yeah, I remember I did not have a affinity for the Blockhead one.
Damn.
That was well. You already were upset by that, so you don't have to be upset by it again.
I was reminded now. Dang.
But like I said, I gave you credit that there are there were some songs on "We Like It Here" by Snarky Puppy, and I do want to get back to that. I still want to get back to that song "Stalling." Um, so I will do that, and I'll listen to plenty. And I'm glad you're already excited. You usually don't listen to a song during the episode start to. I'm glad you're excited about the. If I had a happy place, this would be it. So
Yeah, like I want to get back to how much I love music. Like I listen to music every day, and so I want to keep challenging myself to expand my horizons because even if there's stuff I don't like, I'll probably remember it. So when I meet people who say, "Oh, I like this particular thing," it's like, "Oh, I don't, but I think I know." I think I know things that I can recommend to you and things like that. Like I've made at least like 5 playlists for coworkers and still have like 2 more to make for people that I work with. And like it makes me it gives me like a reason to like get out of bed and like just stay out of bed a little longer. Just like squeeze that one last song into there. You know what I mean?
well, how do you do your playlist?
I usually I upload my playlist to either YouTube or Spotify. And if any listeners will like go to my on my YouTube channel, you'll see all like the playlists I make on YouTube that aren't like my favorites or watch later are public. So go through there. Like they're usually I used to make YouTube playlists explicitly like 78 songs, but now I tend to like either a person will tell me a specific number they want, or I'll do 100 if I'm going like balls to the wall crazy, or I'll do like 50 or 25. Those are the numbers I tend to like stick to, unless like you're Sarah and they request I do 85 just to get under my skin.
Uh, so you, but this so for YouTube, obviously, you search, and then you. Oh yeah, you create. So yeah, I know how to make a playlist on YouTube. I have a playlist on my YouTube pages, but not for music. Anyway, so and then you can share. How do you just share it to your friends on their YouTube page?
Oh yeah, like I'll send it to them via text message, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, however they need me to reach them. You know, because since I make them public, I just like copy the URL and I put it in their inbox. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and yeah. So I'm actually excited to listen to this song too.
Let's go. Like I live for like playing music for others that I know but they don't know, because like if it's especially good, I know certain moments in the song will make a person like perk their ears up and like whoa, listen to that. You know, so like I am very excited to see how you and your family react to this new stuff. Especially Little Deer and
I'm excited about that one too.
oh my goodness gracious. I really hope you like it the same way I did, because and like no exaggeration, I have never been so happy to be alive when I heard that song. Like it made me
That's
feel
pretty
so
grandiose.
literally like it made me feel so warm and loved, and like man, like I'm not sure if magic is real, but like music exists, so most likely magic is real. And
So
that song is literally magic.
if I don't like Little Deer, then I guess we won't be talking ever again, huh?
No, that's not true. Like one of my most favorite people in the whole wide world didn't care for Spelling's voice. And I'm not gonna hold that against her. Like you like what you like and you don't like what you don't like. But man, for me personally, whoo-wee,
Yeah.
that song is a humdinger.
Well, I have a lot to live up to with that expectations there. But
Nah, no pressure. You can only give me what you're gonna give me, you know?
yeah, sometimes you have to try. It's all right.
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah.
No,
You
I
step your
mean
game up or something, yeah?
sometimes you go into things without any preconceived notions, but you are passionate, so don't hold back. Say what you want to say there, and you did. So
Likewise.
I'll try to pretend I forgot that you said that. No, I mean I like music that has that like I said, that's pretty grandiose, and that's cool. So I'm excited about that. Just say that about every song from now on that you recommend me.
Yeah, keep the energy up. Yeah.
No, make your playlist the grandiose playlist kind of thing. That'll be your title for it. So we have about 3 more minutes. You know your pleasantries that you like to say.
That I most certainly do. I'll go ahead and wrap things up. To all who might be listening across the world, it means the world to us that you spend an hour and a half just like listening to us talk about like the little mysteries of the world, philosophy, music. If you could do anything for us right now, like all like the generic YouTube stuff, like or dislike, leave a comment. If you be so inclined, please subscribe and leave note and ring the bell so you always know when we go live. I have a fun thing I'm going to do for charity when I get 300 subscribers. I have approximately 232, and I'm thankful for every single one. But if we can get to 300, I'm gonna do something awesome. So more on that when we get very, very close. Like I don't know, like 295.
Yeah.
With everything else, like, hey, it's a pandemic outside. Unfortunately, worst case scenario, we're gonna see another 5 years of this stuff. But if we don't want to do that, here's what you can do. It's very simple. Wear your mask over your nose and your mouth. Like, just do that, and like I'm sure the numbers will go down just a little bit more than they have been. Other than that, drink water. Tell somebody that you love them. Keep listening to music. Like, always support the arts in one way, whether monetarily or just like by word of mouth. Like, tell people about the things in this life that make you happy to be here. Black Lives Matter, Queer Lives Matter. Like, stop Asian hate. Like, I think that's all like the big ones. We hope to see you on episode 18. Michael, like I have my schedule for work for the rest of the month. So if you'd like to record 18 this month, I'll let you know how it can be done. But until then, like, please say goodbye to the people.
Hey, goodbye.
Goodbye. Godspeed, everyone. We're out of here. End broadcast.